Good day, fellow rockers and moshers. Welcome to the Metal Connection, the connection to all things metal. I'm J-Dub, and today on the show I'm going to start a little series called the Artist Spotlight Series. My kind of inspiration for the show was actually a guy named Steve Grimmett, from Grim Reaper. Some of you are familiar, obviously, with Grim Reaper. And, it started getting me thinking about, Steve Grimmett's done about 5 or 6 different projects throughout his life, and then also going along with that, I was thinking, how could I talk about and touch on all these various projects that he's done throughout his life? And then I kind of came up with the thing, well, why don't I kind of just do a little artist spotlight series where I could, go ahead and show all the projects that he or various people that have been involved with different projects throughout their careers in. And so here we are with that. I figured I'd kind of just run with it. And I am not doing a Steve Grimmett today. I'll save that for next time. But I think to get her going here in this first episode here, I'm going to do Glenn Danzig. And, I'm quite a large Danzig fan here. We got the Danzig shirt. I got my Danzig jacket here that I sewed and custom made it here. Now that I rock around for shows and town and concerts and things like that. So we got these things here, and I'm going to try to do this show as just a one-man, no-edit show. Again, I'm going to take a couple breaks of water here. We got some music in the background. Try to play some obscure stuff, some obscure music here, so I don't get flagged for a copyright or nothing like that. So maybe we'll take a little a couple stops here and jam out to some music here in the background, provided by the Swamp Surfers. Probably a little underground hardcore band. Swamp Surfers. They got a couple albums, good stuff. You can pick those up if you can find Swamp Surfers on the interwebs. Give it a little preview if you find it. Check them out. I was able to get a record pretty cheap from them, so it's cool stuff. And and then fair warning here: this is not a documentary of any sorts. This is not a super in-depth Danzig documentary. It's not a super in-depth Danzig discussion. I'm going to save a full-on Danzig ranking for later on. I'll bring some guests on and we can do a Danzig ranking. This is more of just like an artist spotlight because Danzig, as you know, has been involved with the Misfits, Samhain, and then Danzig solo career. So I figured, he's been involved with, 3 different projects in his life. Well, and then obviously the Glenn Danzig area projects, which I'm not going to touch on. I'm, not a big fan of those in particular. But, so he's been involved in various projects through his life. So I think I'm just going to, try to get her going here with that sort of stuff. And, oh, and also, I do have some notes trying to just wing a large discography of Misfits, Samhain, Glenn Danzig, and just riff it all off the top of my head. I wanted to do that, but I am a big fan, so I wanted to kind of touch more on just naming 1 or 2 songs. Again, my initial intention was to just kind of rip off 1 or 2 songs per album sort of thing, and then it became apparent, well, I'm gonna, I can't just list off 2 or 3 favorite songs because there's a hell of a lot more favorite songs than just 2 or 3. So at that point I realized I'm gonna have to make some notes and things like that. So rather than just kind of wing it and doing a lot of stuttering and things like that, it's not too cool for viewers like you. And so again, if you see me looking down, reading from some notes, bear with me. Obviously, trying to memorize all this kind of stuff would be a little difficult. So, anyway, we got Glenn Danzig here, born in Lodi, New Jersey, USA, born June 23, 1955. So that would make him 66 here this year. And, he started the Misfits around 1977, and they got going right away here with the first Static Age here in 1978. Now you got here a cool little John F. Kennedy here on the front here, the little bullet song. And yeah, some of the standout tracks for me on this album would be TV Casualty. You know, we got some heavy haunting riffs, bass line here to kick it off, to get that song going. And then I got hybrid moments. You know, it's great great sign of things to come for Danzig and his vocal, right? You know, he's not full on belting yet, but you know, it's a good sign of things to come here on Hybrid Moments. Teenagers from Mars, you know, we got Angel F, you know, I don't know, oh, Angel Fuck, I can swear, right? You know, Hollywood Babylon, that's a great little tune there. Bullet, you know, we touched on, you know, he was getting influenced with the John F. Kennedy assassination, so, you know, Bullet's all about that. We got She, a nice little grooving tune. Again, another sign of things to come with Danzig and his, you know, his, when he really started going out with his voice later on, with his Danzig solo, when he started kind of figuring how to get his voice a little much larger and singing and much more confident. So that was another standout track for me, She. And next up is 1982's Walk Among Us here. I'm not really sure why when they did issue this on CD, why they didn't just fill it up full. That is always odd to me. I've always wondered about that. You know, back. I don't think there's anything else super interesting in this. Just a little band photo. Yeah. And yeah, some standout tracks for me on this one would be, you know, 20 Eyes. 20 Eyes is a good one. I Turned Into a Martian. You know, Vampiria's got that cool little vocal effect going on there. You know, that's good, a good chanting, good time song. Night of the Living Dead, you know, he's probably touched on his movie inspirations for that one. Violent World, good little banger there. And, you know, that's kind of, you know, and, you know, these early Misfits, it's pretty well a great, every album's basically a greatest hits. So, you know, rather than me just saying every song's great, you know, I'm going to focus on a couple songs that stand out for me in particular. So there's that for that one. And next up was 1983's Wolf Blood. Well, Earth AD Wolf Blood. And, you know, it was kind of cool that Danzig did go ahead and get his little wolf's blood tattoo there, right? That's cool. I'm sure you guys have probably seen that if you're familiar. If not, you quickly Google that and check out his little wolf's blood tattoo. That's cool, right? So, you know, great artwork there. Great back. I don't know what else is going on here with the CD here. I don't think really much else. Oh, actually, yeah, there's some killer artwork here on the inside here. Some original artwork. And then that's going to be blowing up here later on. I got the Evil Live CD. It's actually blowing up there. Original Pusshead artwork. And, you know, it's a classic artwork that's viewed on posters and things like that. So probably familiar with that guy. That's a cool one. You know, Metallica made that song popular. And yeah, some favorite tracks from this guy would be Death Comes Ripping, you know, like good little headbanger there. Blood Feast, we got that evil kind of tone, riff tone going on there. And then again, I touched on that Die Die My Darling, you know, later on Metallica did cover that and make that popular for the band and things like that. And not really a studio album per se, but, you know, obviously worth mentioning, the Legacy of Brutality compilation, so to speak, where Danzig kind of re-recorded a bunch of bits from the Static Age sessions and kind of spiffed them up to his liking. You know, even though I actually kind of prefer the original Static Age recordings, to be honest. Even though, you know, some of these are maybe better in some particular ways or whatever, you know. Great artwork, classic artwork there. I always love this little skeleton Danzig on the back. That's really cool. I always intended to kind of getting a tattoo of that. I ended up kind of getting a kind of a cross between that and like a kind of a Danzig skull. I don't know if I could actually show it here. I didn't really plan on it. It's kind of just coming up here. Actually, yeah, okay, cool. There it is. Yeah, cool. Actually, there's my little Danzig tattoo. Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, I don't know if you guys appreciate it. It's actually one of the original. Sorry, the original artist who actually originally made this design is slipping my mind. Curtis Christensen, I believe. Sorry if I'm wrong on the name. The guy is slipping my brain. I did contact him and tell him that I did use his original artwork for a tattoo, and he did not mind at all. So I'm probably the only one in the world with his original artwork tattoo. I just thought it was a great combination of the old school Misfits skull, and Danzig's face, basically, because I was more of a fan of Danzig's solo material. I'm a fan of all in general, but that's kind of what got me into it, is more the metal side, and then I came back to the more punker era, right? So that's cool. I didn't really intend on showing that, but I just figured, hey, if I started talking about it, let's do it, right? And yeah, that's pretty well that for the compilation. Again, the compilation has songs I've already touched on, so I don't want to touch on those same songs again. But Where Eagles Dare Pops appears on this one. That was almost like a hit. I don't know if it was a hit, but it definitely could have been a hit. Where Eagles Dare, and then you got the Elvis-esque American Nightmare. Danzig's doing his little ode to rockabilly. So that's a cool little compilation, although I do prefer the Static Age in general. And then that's pretty well. And then we did get the Evil Live here. I forget where this was recorded, but it's just a live show from back in the day. It's actually, and then you would expect the audio to be quite awful, and it's actually not that bad. It is an enjoyable concert. We got the guys here in the back doing the live show. That's pretty cool stuff. And actually, I do want to bring out the booklet here. It's really cool. It's got that full-blown push head artwork in here. It's kind of bigger. That's really cool stuff. Yeah, great. And then, he later went and did all the Metallica work and things like that. It's probably, I have to assume that was Cliff, where Cliff was a fan of the Misfits. Cliff would have probably turned the Metallica guys onto Misfits. They would have seen the artwork, and they probably called Pusshead up, and got Pusshead to do some stuff for Metallica later on. So that's a cool little connection there. And then Danzig was done with the Misfits. It was kind of a multitude of reasons. I'm not gonna, again, this isn't a full-depth documentary of any sorts at all. This is just kind of me touching on some of my favorite songs, and it kind of developed into a little bit more. Just because I'm such a huge Danzig fan, I don't want to do a complete disservice or a complete mockery of the discography. So I'm gonna try to put this together. Do it right for Danzig, man. And so then he was kind of done with the Misfits at that point, and then he kind of shifted his direction to the Samhain, and we got Samhain's first album, Initium, 1984. Great album artwork here. The guys that got all fake bloodied up and did this little shoot, and then obviously they used to do all the concerts with this kind of gimmick and blood and things like that. Cool stuff, editing. We got the little girl here doing the 3-card Molly or whatever there, the back of the jacket. Great stuff. Just a killer, just a total killer package in general with the art, with just the whole artwork and everything. Then we got flew out. Then we got the guys here on the back. Yeah, cool stuff. Obviously he's bringing the devil lock going there. I know when I was growing my hair out, when it was shorter, I'd do the devil lock once in a while. Yeah, that's cool stuff. And some standout tracks on that one would be All Murder, All Guts, All Fun. We got Horror Biz, The Shift. The Shift is great, nice, slow, plodding, atmospheric kind of gothic tune. Again, a lot of the Samhain stuff was leaning more into that gothic kind of horror, darker themes and things like that. He was kind of stepping away from the Misfits horror themes, even though he's back on the horror themes, but it's kind of just a little more darker, a little more edgier, a little more gothic, so to speak. Now, a lot of keyboards and things like that are prevalent on stuff like that on these albums and things like that. So that's stuff a little cool. And then next up was 1985's November Coming Fire. Again, killer artwork. You cannot go wrong with anything about that at all. And then we got the back here showing the guys and their little fire bits. I don't really think there's much going on with that, just like the CD and stuff like that. So that's that. Some standout tracks would be, well, right off the intro, you got that Diablos 88 intro, kind of those, kind of like a rhythmic kind of Indian drum roll thing intro, really cool stuff. And then obviously the Mother of Mercy. Again, I don't think it was a hit for them per se, but it certainly could have been. It's a hit in my eyes. We got that big anthemic dark tune with the Mother of Mercy. Next, another standout track would be the Eerie to Walk the Night. Very eerie, creepy. Wandering around in the grave site sort of feel. And Let the Day Begin, killer tune. And then Halloween 2, nice creepy little headbanger there. A little groovy headbanger there, Halloween 2. And then the title track, November Coming Fire there. Just, really rad guitar tone on that. And that's about that for that one. And then next up was, and this was a little, how should I do this? Because after 1985, he kind of hooked up with, it's a couple of years down the road, 87, he kind of hooked up with Rick Rubin there, but, not to get too ahead of myself, I will finish the Samhain discography, so to speak, which later he did put this out in 1990. So, this is 1990's Final Descent here, kind of a signal to saying this is their final descent. He was releasing some unreleased studio stuff and things like that, and put together one last little CD here for the fans. Great stuff. Not too much going on in the background, just showing his little devil lock there. I don't think there's anything particular in the jewel case that's too exciting. That's that. Some standout tracks on this guy would be the cool little gothic keyboard intro, the Night Chill intro, really cool keyboard stuff that Danzig was doing there. And then obviously a lot of the stuff is very Elvis influenced, and Roy Orbison and Jim Morrison and a lot of these things. So, I wrote down this one, the very Elvis-like Death in Your Arms, a nice little slow tune where Danzig shines on this one. I really thought he shines on this one, in particular, Death in Its Arms. And then Lords of the Left Hand, really great songwriting on that one. He, that just really came out great. His kind of play on a lot of the words he was doing on that one. Really cool stuff on Lords of the Left Hand. Unholy Passion, more of an anthemic gothic overtones on that one. And then Moribund, it's a fun little ripper on that one. And then that pretty well does it for the Samhain discography. And at that point, I did mention, he did hook up with Rick Rubin. Again, this isn't a full-on in-depth Danzig biography by any means, so I'm not going to get into how they all hooked up and how that all came about. I'm sure some of you are aware, but along the lines, he was in the studio. He hooked up with Rick Rubin, and Rick Rubin really kind of pushed his gears, pushed his buttons in terms of, hey, maybe you could go solo and try some different things. And I think Rick Rubin got together a bunch of guys, brought in some suggestion players that he might be interested in working with, and it kind of all just kind of panned out. And I'm going to take a sip of water here. You guys can jam out to the Swamp Surfers here. So here we are with Danzig's first solo album, 1988. I am going to pull this out of the case just to show the full skull here. Really cool. Again, if you guys actually, and another side note is it's probably very rare that anyone's seen the full skull, because if you actually think about it, the bottom half is cut off. Nobody's probably ever realized that. Like, this is actually only the top of the skull. There's actually a jaw part. You can actually go on and find the, well, you know, obviously you can't see it, but there's an actual bottom jaw part of the skull. And it's very weird to see the full skull part. You know, fans have made it, or it's made its way on the internet where you can see the bottom part, right? Because again, that's only the top part. There is a bottom part. Really cool stuff if you can check that out. But you know, obviously we got the iconic Danzig logo, I would suppose. You know, logo, yeah. You know, there's some cool band photos in here, right? You know, there's the band here, John Christ, right? Great guitarist. I wish he'd come back. Yeah, I wish John Christ would just be in a band at some point. Like, I miss that guy's guitar tone. I miss that guy's guitar playing. It's really bluesy, hard rock. Yeah, just a really killer tone that guy had. Great stuff. And then we got the, you know, the drummer there, Bananas there, little wild man there. So that's that. I don't even need to stick that back in the case, but you know, again, you know, with some of these early Danzig albums, it's basically a full-on every album's a greatest hit. So I did originally intend on just touching on 2 or 3 tracks per album, and then it became apparent I can't do that because these are like full-on greatest hits. It's pretty well every song is great. So again, I did have to just kind of narrow down to a couple songs, listing every single song. You know, so we start off with Twist the Cane. It wasn't a hit for him. It certainly could have been a hit for him, that Twist the Cane song, you know, kind of that southern doomy riff song. I Am Demon, and at this point, this is probably the quintessential Danzig track. I Am Demon. This is a full out Danzig. He's belting. We got the guitar work. It's heavy. It's a very upbeat, up-paced song. This is all out Danzig. If someone was not a Danzig fan and they want to know what it's about, you play them I Am Demon. We're rocking here. We're having a good time. The Hunter, you know, that's a nice, good head bobber there. You know, good little head bobber, Hunter. Evil Thing, great voice, great riffs. It's all here. He's belting again on Evil Thing. That's a great tune. I believe that's the last song of the album there, so great closer as well. And next up was 1990's Luciferage. Cool little band shot in the back here. Danzig Space, yeah. I'm not really sure if there's anything interesting going on in the book here. Yeah, there's certainly some cool stuff. Oh, I like this little fold-out, cool there, and he's got his little custom Danzig cross. Danzig cross there, it's cool. Got band photo on the back here. Cool little band photo on the back there. And again, a lot of again, this is when Danzig fully knew what he was doing. So yeah, this is basically the greatest hits at that point. Some standout tracks would have to be Long Way Back from Hell, Snakes of Christ. You know, we got, you know, John Christ is certainly, you know, this isn't a John Christ our spotlight, but, you know, I'm going to have to touch on that just because he does have that really cool bluesy riff in that one. We got the acoustic jam, I Am the One. You know, starts off slow. Well, it's pretty well kind of a mid-paced acoustic jam, but you know, Danzig has some cool little belts there near the end there. He gets going, going and worked up. That's a really cool tune. And then we got the, you know, live staple, Her Black Wings, a nice little sing-along track. You know, he plays that on a lot of his concerts and things like that still to this day. And then the 777, you know, starts off slow, and then it kind of picks up and builds up and has these has these great unleashing moments throughout that song. So that's definitely was another standout track. And then we moving on along to 1992's "How the Gods Kill." I got the stickers right on the front cover here. I know some people have theirs flipped upside down. What some of this front cover can go different ways. I think it looks cool this way. We got the band shot in the back here. Yeah, cool stuff. And actually, I do want to pull this out because this, you probably some of you are familiar with the H.R. Geiger. So we got the custom H.R. Geiger artwork here. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's custom or if it was already done, and Danzig got leased to it or however that stuff works out. So I will unfold this huge poster to show the full Geiger artwork here. Great. Oh, how do I get it in there? Okay, there we go. We get it in there. Yeah, cool stuff, eh? Yeah, cool stuff. I like the skull here at the bottom. This custom knife. That is awesome shit. Yeah, awesome shit right there. And there's a band photo here right there. Oh, band photo. Cool stuff. Yeah, and some standout tracks on this guy would have to be Bodies. Great opening bass line, groovy track. Again, his voice is super strong at this point, so super strong voice on Bodies, full on belting there. The title track, "How the Gods Kill." It starts off a little soft and then kind of just explodes here in this big, heavy, doomy, upbeat song, and kind of bounces back and forth between that after it kicks off. And then we got the Left Hand Black, heavy tone, really anthemic build-ups and things like that. And then Do You Wear the Mark? We got some doomy pinches going on there, and then Danzig's kind of playing into that and kind of the doomy riffs, and he's doing away with his thing, his belts and open singing. And then that was kind of my standout tracks for that one. Again, I could list off the whole most of the album at that point. And then next up was Danzig 4. Cool stuff on that one. Oh, yeah, really cool stuff. I believe that's actually a sticker. Is that a sticker? Yeah, that's a sticker. That's actually a sticker on the front. So, definitely not changing jewel case on that. Sticker right on front. So that's cool stuff. Again, I know this can actually go. This front cover can come a couple different ways. I personally like it sitting like this, even though that's covering that. But I like it sitting like this. It looks like it's generally the Danzig skull, just a modification of it in some sorts, right? And then the back, whatever that means. I didn't really research what the hell that means, but. I don't know if there's anything worthwhile in here in general to look at here. A little show and tell. Yeah, see, this is how actually the booklet goes sideways. But then I flipped it like this. It looks cooler like that, right? So there, that was cooler, right? Well, get some glare. Yeah, that's cool. A couple variations of the skull. Cool stuff. I'm not sure if there's really much in here. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of cool band shots and stuff in here, right? That's so there on the little coffins. I believe there's one little cool little back artwork here. There's cool little stuff right down there. And some standout tracks on this one would be Little Whip. I really love that tune. Until You Call It Dark. We got these big doomy haunting riffs on that guy. Bringer of Death. Kind of almost sounds like he's pulling you deep into the depths with that track. Great, cool little vocal effect on that one. And then, I'm super excited to talk about this one, the Stalker song. What an amazing, genius song. He's kind of taking you into that first person point of view, or first person point of view of a stalker, right? Just totally love that song. Such a creepy tune. He kind of just totally gets in your head with, the whole atmosphere of if you were potentially a stalker and what you're thinking and what you're doing, and just a amazing tune. Love that song. And then for the classic Danzig era, that was that, and then he's shifted into a bit of a different thing. So here we are with 1995's Black Acid Devil. Again, if I were to do a Danzig ranking right off the top of my head right now, this is going to be last. Even yeah, you know, I find the next album after is way better. I think at that point he was experimenting with this heavy industrial phase and heavy industrial album in general, but he hadn't really. There's not too much to touch on with this album. You know, he doesn't really shine a whole lot on this album, and particularly a lot of the vocals are kind of just in the background, mixed with you know, the industrial aspects kind of taking over a lot of the stuff. You know, his voice isn't super prevalent, and I think at the next album he figured it out a way to mix his Danzig with the industrial. So this is kind of a precursor of what's to come. So I didn't have super many standout tracks on this. Kind of just Sacrifices, probably the lone great track. There is some other great tracks too as well. You know, Serpentia is a good little dark industrial song, but I didn't have, you know, it's not a super whopping genius album. You know, it's an industrial club type album. You know, don't really expect too much of his vocals here because they're not super prevalent, but it does lead me into the next album here. No, I gotta flip my page. It does lead me into the next album, was 1999, so there was a 3-year gap in between albums for Danzig here, and he definitely figured it out on this album. I got the special European edition here. I got this from Germany. Just really appreciate the guys that I was able to buy this from, and they sent it to me. Yeah, super happy to get this, and it actually even still has the original full sticker in here. I'll bring that out. I like the little band shot back here. It is dark because well, this is a custom, like it's a black case. It came in a limited edition black case, so it is why it's dark, because it's supposed to be a black case. I'll take it out here because I'll show you. Actually, here's the sticker that it came with. Here's the full-on sticker, and I ain't gonna be sticking this on something stupid. I think I'm just gonna leave this very safe right here. This is probably gonna be a collector's thing here in 20 years down the road. These things are gonna be very difficult to find, especially with the original sticker like that. Really cool shit. And then a really cool artwork here, Danzig there. I'm not sure who did it off the top of my head here, but great job on that. You know, reproducing Danzig here into a little comic character. Great sticker there. That's cool. I'm not gonna flip through the booklet. We've already looked at enough on this one. I'm just gonna get the sticker back in here. Cool stuff. And I have much more standout tracks from this album. Way more standout tracks on this album. Actually, I generally like most of this album, actually. So yeah, he totally kind of did a flip little script in terms of that last album. There wasn't too much for me, and then this album is still a heavy industrial album, but his voice is much more prevalent. There's much more songs, and actual songs here. So some standout tracks on this one would be Five Finger Crawl. You know, already his voice is much more prevalent here. We got a big thumper track here. Five Finger Crawl really makes you move. And then that goes into the Belly of the Beast. You have great sonics on that song. Another heavy tune, gets you moving, gets you feeling good on that one. Cult Without a Name, doomy riff. You know, the doomy riffs are back with that one. Cult Without a Name. We got Fire Mass. You know, it's an interesting groovy tune, Fire Mass. You know, it's kind of a mid-tempo, cool little tune. Actually, when I was actually thinking about it, when I was listening to it today, writing down a couple little notes here for it, it almost sounds like it could be like almost a Rob Zombie tune. You know, obviously Danzig came before Zombie in all aspects, but it almost sounds like it could have been almost a Rob Zombie tune. So, maybe while I mention that, next time you listen to Fire Mass, think of like, oh yeah, maybe it could have been a Rob Zombie tune, right? So that's really cool stuff. And then I did like the title track, Satan's Child, as well. I'm just gonna take a little break for another little water here. You guys could jam out to the Swamp Surfers. Cool stuff. And then that leads us into 2002, I Luciferi, 777. I love this album. Actually, in particular, I really love the next two albums. I know a lot of the old school Danzig guys, they checked out at some point and they don't appreciate some of this newer stuff. But yeah, screw them. I love this. I love this album and the next album in particular. I love these two album eras that he had here. And so at that point, I could pretty well name the entire album as being my favorite. But so I not doing, so I will touch on some standout tracks. Some standout tracks from this one would be Black Mass. Right from the opening riff, it's a great sign of things to come with the rest of the album. Starts off with a great riff, and the last couple albums were more of an industrial, not riff eccentric. So we're back with the riffs. We're back with Danzig. This is good stuff here. And then we got God of Light, Kiss the Skull is another good one. Naked Witch, hooky little riff tune on that one, right? Halo Goddess Bone, last track, I believe. Good little. Actually, there was Without Light. I am on the last one, but Halo Goddess Bone near the last there. Good little last song. And then that leads us into 2004's Circle of Snakes. Again, I love this album. Yeah, really great stuff. 2004. And then I totally forgot to do some show and tells here with some of the artwork. We got the back here, cool little variation of the Danzig skull. David Sinclair. There we go. Cool stuff. I'm not sure what else is going on with the booklet here. Let's check her out. We got some, Danzig with his girls. Yeah, cool. What else we got here? Yeah, a little band photo. I think that's about it there. There's some more little goofy little, not too special there. Yeah. Some standout tracks from this one would be. Oh yeah, it opens up with that Danzig live staple, Skin Carver. He typically opens his shows with that show. Huge, heavy, in-your-face song. Get the crowd going, get everyone going. So a great opening tune on that one. And at this point, I love basically this whole album. So this is one of those things where I'm just gonna say I love every song on this album. And if you want me to just riff away every song here, we got Skin Carver, Circle of Snakes, 1,000 Devil's Rain, Hell Mask, Night Besotted, My Darkness, Netherbound, Black Angel, White Angel. And actually the one thing I actually did write down just for a switch up is I wrote down the one song I didn't care for on the album, Skull Forest. I kind of consider that to be maybe the one skipper of the album, Skull Forest. Don't really care for that song too much in particular. Thought I'd switch it up and do, instead of all the songs I love, I'll throw on one tune I don't necessarily like all that much because I love the rest of the album. So that was a cool one. And then it does kind of leads us into the next album, Death Red Sabbath, but he did in 2007 do his a bunch of unreleased tracks on the Danzig Lost tracks here. He put this out in 2007. I love this digibook. Really cool stuff. Beautiful artwork here. Beautiful fold out. And then I had to do some taping of some nipples here because there's some nudity in the booklet that I wanted to show. We got the cool double disc here. And then you can see I had to tape up the lady's nipples here so I didn't get flagged or reported here or anything like that. Cool little custom thing, and I'll try to flip through the booklet while keeping it up. Boom, that's cool. What else we got here? Oh, full on big Danzig face. You can see what I'm showing anyway, that. We got Danzig with the girls. Again, I did have to do the cover the lady's dimple up here at the top, or the other side of the top there. I can't reach. Yeah, that's cool stuff. Danzig with the girls. And another shot of Danzig and his girl there. Yeah, really cool stuff. If you don't have this, if you don't have this is a must-have. Definitely a must-have for the Danzig collection. Yeah, that's a great little unit, which is called here, so I don't stutter with some words. And some stand-up tracks for that. Again, this is a double disc. This is a double disc here, so it's hard. I guess it's hard to see. It's not showing the songs. It's a little dark. But that's cool. That's a cool little logo there. Whoever came up with that one, that's cool. But again, with this being two albums, or two CDs worth, I'm not going to list off 20, 30 tracks. So I did have to kind of narrow down to some standout tracks here. So Pain is Like an Animal is a great upbeat rockin' track. We got the Cold Rain, nice moody slower jam. I like that one. We got the cool groovy Buick McCain there. Cool little groovy drumming there. I like that one. Keeps an upbeat tempo up there. I like there's some cool cymbal hi-hat work there. That's cool stuff. Mandrake's Cry is a good one. Who Claims the Soulless? We got another cool guitar drum groovy tune there to drive home that tune. And then Soul Eater, it's kind of a upbeat kind of head bopper, headbanger tune there. Good little Soul Eater. And then to bring her back into the studio albums there, 2010's Death Red Sabaoth, or however you would say it there. Cool little artwork there, don't mind that. Cool little back actually to it as well. Cool little back to it. We got a little flip open there with Danzig, and then again with None of His Girls. I did have to do a tape-up job on this to not show the nipple. Probably some sort of porn star back in the day. He was still using a lot of porn stars. I know the one girl, the one girl on the Skeletons track is a porn star lady. I forget her name off the top of my head. I used to know that back in the day when I was a little more into that kind of stuff. And then, some standout tracks from that one would be, Death Red Sabbath is a pretty good album in general. You have to be frank with yourself at that point. His voice is starting to sound a little aged at that point. A lot of these tracks were recorded over an amount of time, so through probably variously through 5 years, a lot of these tracks were recorded, and then he compiled and made an album out of that. So, through various points throughout the time in between 2004 and 2010, he would have made a lot of these tracks, and probably it's just a factor of a lot of times he was touring, and then would come home and try to bang out some tunes, and maybe he didn't give his voice a full rest, but nonetheless, it's still a great album. But obviously it is a little prevalent when you go back and listen to something 1990, 1992, and his voice is full on there. It's definitely showing his age here. His vocal cords is showing a bit of age here, but nonetheless, it still lends well to the tunes. So some stand-up tracks would be, Hammer of the Gods. Hammer of the Gods opens up with that familiar kind of Danzig tone, Danzig vibe, so to speak. So, it definitely has that familiarity opening tune to get you in the mood, in the mood for the album in general. Then it goes into revengeful, nice fun tune on that one. And we got Rebel Spirits. Rebel Spirits is kind of an odd, eerie, doomy track, cool stuff. And then On a Wicked Night. Let me tell you, On a Wicked Night. On a Wicked Night could have been a hit song. I really wish he would have tried to make that a hit or whatever, but that actually couldn't have been a hit song. Great songwriting on that. Yeah. Has all that track On a Wicked Night that had all the makings of a hit song right there. He put it all together on that tune. So would have liked to have seen that to be a big song for him. Since it wasn't, that song is just going to be left for the diehards here who listen to the full album. So if that's something maybe you had missed, definitely check out On a Wicked Night. Really cool track. I'm just going to take a little break here. Another drink of water here. The swamps are still going on here. So we're kind of almost finishing up here. Again, this isn't original material, but I figured I'd touch on it. I do have it. So we got 2015 Skeletons. This is a bunch of covers from all his inspirations and favorite bands from back in the day. Again, there's Danzig with his girl, the porn star lady. If you guys remember her name, just throw it in the comments there. Give me a little reminder of who she was. Again, back in the day, I certainly would have saw her in her videos. There's Danzig nipples. I know people didn't really like this cover, but there's the cool Danzig skull face that I kind of got the tattoo of. Kind of cross between the old Misfits skull and updating it with his face, right? Again, there's more of the face paint on the back there with his face. And then cool little gatefold here part. That's cool little shot there. I got put the sticker from the front. A little zoom in and read it there. What's the little promo thing say? I think it just says NIB and some tracks that are featured in there. What does it say? The long-awaited covers album featuring NIB, Action Woman, Devil's Angels. And in particular, I'm not super fond of a lot of these tracks. I know in particular I don't really like the NIB Black Sabbath cover, but the certain standout track of this album would be Let Yourself Go. That's a great song that I put on repeat and spin quite often. Another good little tune there would be Find Somebody. I forget who actually his original song that was, but that was another cool little standout track for me. Again, a couple years later here, just a couple years ago, he did put out the Danzig Does Elvis, Danzig Sings Elvis, and I much prefer that way better. I actually really love that Danzig Sings Elvis album. So, that did come out a couple years later, so I don't want to get too in my head of myself here. So next up was, up to this day, it is the last Danzig studio album up to this day. I definitely expect another studio album from him at some point here, maybe the next couple of years, and maybe especially since all this COVID time, maybe he. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I know he was extremely busy doing 2 movies back to back. So actually, I don't think he's been really working on a whole lot of music. And then obviously there was the Misfits reunion that he was focused on for, I think, pretty well a year and a half. Of shows off and on. He was doing a lot of those big arena shows with the Misfits. Those were a big hit. I wasn't able to make any of those shows. They never came anywhere near me. There's one in Seattle. I wasn't able to make that in particular. I live in Canada, and the drive to Seattle for me would have been 5 or 6 hours. Again, I would definitely drive the 5 or 6 hours, but I know at that particular time I just was not able to make that. Would have loved to have even flown in for that, but again, I couldn't make it. I did watch a lot of those videos from all those reunion shows, and you know, the whole band, and Danzig was firing on all cylinders. You know, Danzig himself, it was very prevalent. It was very aware. I mean, it was very clear cut that he put in a lot of work for those Misfits shows in terms of physicality. I know he dropped a lot of weight. He looked phenomenal. He sounded phenomenal on those shows and the clips that I saw. So that was really great stuff. I don't know how I got into talking about those, but I definitely want to touch on that. But back to the anyway. So I don't even know if I did an intro for this, but you know, here we are into 2007's Black Latin Crown. I must have been an idiot at the time and stuck the promo sticker right on the front. Again, I probably put it in a spot where I thought it looked good. Yeah, looks good. Maybe not. If you're offended about that, comment. You're an idiot putting a sticker right on the front. Whatever, get over it. Okay, cool. We got cool little fire guy in the back there. And then I will open this up and show the full-on picture here with that. That's cool. I believe that's the same girl from the Skeletons photo shoot that they did. Probably used the same girl there. Again, I do forget her name. Actually, I don't even know if I've really ever looked at the book right here. There's probably not too much going on. Actually, yeah, that's cool. There's actually kind of a box inside of that. I completely forgot about that. Kind of weird little witchy artwork there. Cool stuff. And actually, I found this album in particular to be a grower, where it first came out, and there were some songs I wasn't super fond of, but this is one of those albums where the more you play it, the more you love it, and you get adjusted to more of the mid tempo-y type stuff. But his voice lends itself well to a lot of those mid-tempo songs. Obviously, as anyone would be aware, he's done a lot of slower mid-tempo stuff throughout his career, so his voice lends well to that, and the doomy atmosphere. So there's a lot of that stuff going on here. You know, the guitarist there, the Prong fella, is just his name's slipping my mind there. The Prong fella there. You know, he's probably doing a little too much of his little pinchy stuff here and there, so that's probably a little overplayed out on this album, but nonetheless, it is still a great album that you pretty well put it on and play the whole album right through. It pretty well is generally that good to play the whole thing straight through. So some standout tracks on that would be Eyes Ripping Fire, The Devil Highway number 9 there. I believe that had a video for that. Cool stuff. Nice upbeat ripper, Devil Highway number 9. And then cool little slow plodding Bud and Nightmare. I like that song. Slow plodding doomy track. And then another good little one was Pull the Sun. Pull the Sun was a great blend of styles there. You know, his aged voice lends very well to that song in particular. I love that tune. Yeah, so that was kind of my stand-up tracks from that album, and that pretty well actually does it for this Artist Spotlight series. And you know, I did kind of give away what probably most likely will be the next episode there. We got, I'm planning on intending my next episode for this series to be Steve Grimmett and all his various projects here. So I won't get into that. So, you know, thanks for watching. Subscribe, mosh, and see you later. Oops.